Months passed, and the crew of the Black Dagger went their separate ways. The ship was sold off quietly, its systems too unreliable to trust anymore. Each member carried the weight of what they had witnessed, unable to escape the shadow of the artifact, no matter how far they ran. Emma Lewis became obsessed with piecing together the fragments of knowledge she gained from the heart of eternity. She holed up in a small, rented lab on the edge of a distant colony, surrounded by stacks of notes and half-built machines. Her research was unconventional, borderline dangerous, but she couldn't stop. The equations and symbols haunted her dreams, urging her forward. Eventually, she published an anonymous report detailing her findings. Warnings about forces humanity wasn't ready to control, descriptions of the sphere, and the artifact's destructive potential. The scientific community dismissed it as fiction, but whispers spread among those who dealt in secrets. Powerful factions began sending covert expeditions toward the Veil, driven by greed and ambition. Kate Riley disappeared soon after leaving the crew. Some said she joined a merchant fleet, seeking redemption by helping others navigate the stars safely. Others claimed she retreated to a quiet life on a remote planet, far from the chaos of space travel. Either way, she never spoke of the artifact or the Black Dagger. But late at night, when the wind howled through empty streets, she would wake suddenly, certain she heard faint whispers calling her name. Ryan Cole vanished entirely. After parting ways with the group, he took odd jobs on backwater stations, drinking heavily and avoiding questions about his past. Rumors circulated that he tried to sell information about the artifact to underground buyers, but if he succeeded, no one ever saw him again. Some believed the guilt had finally consumed him. Others thought the artifact's influence had claimed him in the end. Whatever the truth, Ryan's fate remained a mystery. Jack Malone survived longer than anyone expected. He drifted from port to port, taking low-risk smuggling jobs just to get by. Gone was the ruthless pirate captain. In his place was a weary man haunted by memories of the sphere and the glowing figures that had warned him. On cold nights, he swore he could still feel the artifact's pull, tugging at the edges of his mind. One evening, while staring out at the stars, he muttered to himself, "It'll find us all eventually." And perhaps it would. Though the sphere had collapsed behind them, faint ripples in space hinted that its boundary, the Veil, wasn't as impenetrable as it seemed. Ships reported strange phenomena near its edges, instruments failing, time behaving unpredictably, and whispers echoing in the dark. Governments declared the area off-limits, but curiosity always outweighed caution. In secret labs and hidden bunkers, scientists worked tirelessly to recreate the technology Emma had described. Corporations funneled billions into research, hoping to harness the power of the heart of eternity for themselves. They ignored her warnings, dismissing them as fear-mongering or exaggeration. Humanity's hunger for progress blinded them to the dangers lurking beyond the veil of understanding. As the years rolled on, stories of the rogue crew and their ill-fated journey faded into legend. To most, they were nothing more than tales told in dimly lit bars, a cautionary reminder of the perils of forbidden spaces. But to those who truly listened, there was a deeper message. Some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, some doors better left unopened. Far beyond the reach of human eyes, the veil pulsed faintly, waiting. Somewhere within its depths, the echoes of the heart of eternity lingered, patient and eternal. And though the crew of the Black Dagger had long since scattered, their actions ensured that humanity would return, to face consequences they could not yet imagine. Days turned into weeks as the Black Dagger drifted through space. Its crew changed in ways they couldn't fully comprehend. The physical marks of their encounter with the artifact had faded. The trembling hands, the headaches, the exhaustion, but the emotional and mental scars ran deeper. Each member of the crew carried a piece of the heart of eternity within them, whether they wanted to or not. Jack Malone spent most of his time alone on the bridge, staring out at the endless void. His usual confidence was gone, replaced by a quiet unease that gnawed at him day and night. He replayed the events in his mind over and over, searching for some way he could have avoided it all. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't shake the feeling that the artifact had been waiting for them, that it had known they would come. Kate Riley avoided the others as much as possible, retreating to her quarters when she wasn't needed on the bridge. She couldn't stop thinking about the choices she'd made, the risks she'd taken under Jack's orders. Every decision felt heavier now, weighed down by the knowledge of what could go wrong. At night, she dreamed of steering the ship into disaster again, her hands frozen on the controls as chaos unfolded around her. Ryan Cole was quieter than usual, which worried the others more than anything. Gone was the brash, angry man who once filled the cabin with shouting matches and sarcastic remarks. Instead, he sat alone in the armory, cleaning weapons he didn't need to clean. His eyes were distant, haunted by the faces of those he'd hurt. People he'd killed during raids, lives he'd ended without a second thought. The guilt pressed down on him like a stone, suffocating and unrelenting. Emma Lewis, however, seemed different from the rest. While the others struggled with regret and fear, she was consumed by curiosity. The visions she'd experienced during the artifact's assault stayed with her, lingering in her mind like half-remembered dreams. She spent hours poring over her notes, trying to make sense of the equations and symbols that had flooded her consciousness. It wasn't just power, she muttered to herself one evening, scribbling furiously in her journal. It was knowledge, a key to something greater. But even Emma couldn't deny the cost of that knowledge. Her hands shook sometimes when she wrote, and there were moments when she caught herself reaching for things that weren't there, as if the artifact's pull still lingered in her fingertips. She knew better than anyone that they hadn't escaped unscathed. The ship itself bore signs of the artifact's influence too. Strange symbols continued to appear on the walls, glowing faintly before fading away. Equipment malfunctioned randomly, forcing Emma and Kate to work tirelessly to keep the Black Dagger operational. None of them spoke about it openly, but they all felt it, the presence of something unseen, watching, waiting. One night, as the crew gathered for a rare meal together, Jack finally broke the silence. "We can't keep running," he said, his voice low but firm. "Whatever that thing did to us, we have to face it." "Face it?" Ryan snapped, slamming his fist on the table. "How? We barely survived last time." "He's right," Emma interjected softly, surprising everyone. "Running won't fix this. That artifact, it changed us. Maybe we can use what it gave us, to understand it, to control it." Kate shook her head, her expression grim. "Or maybe it'll destroy us completely." For a long moment, no one spoke. The weight of their situation hung heavy in the air, pressing down on each of them. They were broken, damaged, and carrying secrets none of them could share. Yet deep down, they all knew one thing. The artifact wasn't done with them. Whatever path lay ahead, they would have to walk it together, or fall apart trying. As the meal ended and they dispersed, Jack lingered behind, staring at the glowing symbols etched into the wall. For the first time, he let himself wonder if they had truly left the sphere, or if the sphere had somehow followed them home. The energy waves surged through the chamber, filling the air with a deafening hum that vibrated deep within their bones. The crew of the Black Dagger clutched at their heads, overwhelmed by the intensity of the artifact's power. Each pulse felt like a hammer blow to their minds, forcing them to relive fragments of their pasts, their mistakes, their regrets, their darkest fears, all amplified and distorted. Jack Malone gritted his teeth, trying to fight back against the assault. He saw flashes of every reckless decision he'd ever made, every person he'd betrayed or abandoned in his pursuit of wealth. For a moment, he was frozen, unable to move as guilt threatened to crush him. But then anger took over, fueling his determination to resist. "No," he shouted, forcing himself to stand. His voice was raw but defiant. "We're not giving in." Kate Riley curled into a ball on the floor, tears streaming down her face. She saw herself steering the ship toward disaster, leading her friends into danger time and again. Her hands trembled as she covered her ears, desperate to block out the voices screaming inside her head. "Make it stop," she whispered, her voice breaking. Ryan Cole wasn't faring any better. The weapon he had been holding slipped from his grasp as visions of violence consumed him. He saw faces, people he'd hurt, lives he'd ruined, all staring back at him with accusing eyes. His breathing came in ragged gasps as he fought to push the images away. "It's not real," he muttered, though his voice wavered. "None of this is real." Emma Lewis lay sprawled on the ground, her body racked with tremors. Unlike the others, her visions weren't filled with regret or fear. They were flooded with knowledge. Complex equations, alien symbols, and fragmented memories of civilizations long gone poured into her mind faster than she could process them. It was overwhelming, but also strangely exhilarating. She reached out instinctively toward the heart of eternity, drawn to its power despite the chaos around her. The keepers watched silently, their glowing forms flickering faintly. One of them stepped closer to Jack, its presence radiating both sorrow and resolve. "You brought this upon yourselves," it said, its mental voice steady, but tinged with sadness. "The artifact does not destroy, it reveals. It shows you who you truly are." "We don't want this," Jack yelled, his voice cracking under the strain. "Take it back. Undo whatever you've done." "It cannot be undone," the keeper replied. "The power has marked you. You will carry its weight for as long as you live, or until it consumes you completely." As the words echoed in their minds, the pulses of energy began to subside. The crew slowly regained control of their bodies, though none of them felt whole anymore. They stared at each other, their expressions haunted and hollow. Something fundamental had shifted inside them, leaving scars they couldn't see but could feel all too clearly. "Get us out of here," Jack ordered, his tone sharp but unsteady. "Now." Kate scrambled to her feet, wiping her face with trembling hands. She stumbled toward the controls, her movements clumsy but determined. With great effort, she managed to guide the Black Dagger away from the pedestal and back toward the exit. The keepers didn't try to stop them. Instead, they simply faded into the background, their forms dissolving into streams of light. As the ship passed through the portal and emerged into open space once more, the oppressive weight lifted slightly. But the relief was short-lived. None of them spoke as they stared out at the stars, knowing deep down that they hadn't escaped anything. The artifact's influence lingered, buried beneath their skin, whispering promises of destruction and despair. Jack sank into the captain's chair, his head bowed. For the first time in years, he felt utterly defeated. "What have we done?" he murmured, his voice barely audible. No one answered. There was nothing left to say. Whatever they had awakened, it wasn't finished with them, and they knew, deep in their hearts, that they might never truly escape it. The Black Dagger shook violently as an invisible force dragged it through space. Alarms blared, and red warning lights flashed across the cabin, casting eerie shadows on the crew's frightened faces. Emma gripped her scanner tightly, her knuckles white as she stared at the readings. "It's like a gravitational pull," she said, her voice trembling. "But it's not gravity. It's something else. Something else." Ryan Cole snapped, his temper flaring. "What does that even mean? Are you telling me we're being yanked back to that cursed place by magic?" "It's not magic." Emma shot back, though her tone betrayed her fear. "I don't know what it is, but it's powerful, stronger than anything we've ever encountered." Jack Malone clenched the edge of the console, his jaw tight. "Can we fight it? Can we break free?" Kate Riley was already working frantically at her station, trying to counteract the pull. Her fingers flew over the controls, but nothing seemed to work. "The engines are maxed out," she said, frustration creeping into her voice. "We're moving against it, but it's too strong. We can't escape." The ship groaned under the strain, metal creaking ominously as the mysterious force grew stronger. Outside the view screen, streaks of light warped unnaturally, twisting into spirals that made their heads spin just looking at them. It felt like they were being pulled into another dimension entirely. "We're running out of time," Jack muttered, his mind racing. He turned to Ryan. "Grab whatever weapons you can find. If we end up back there, we might need to defend ourselves." Ryan hesitated for a moment, then nodded and hurried off the bridge. Despite his usual bravado, he looked pale and uneasy. None of this made sense. Not the artifact, not the sphere, not the strange symbols appearing on the walls. And it terrified him. Emma stayed where she was, her eyes glued to her scanner. The energy readings were spiking uncontrollably now, forming patterns that matched the glowing marks spreading across the ship. She traced one with her finger again, her skin tingling as if charged with electricity. "These symbols, they're communicating," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. "Communicating?" Kate asked, glancing over at her. "With who?" "I don't know," Emma admitted. "Maybe with the artifact, or whatever controls it. But it feels like it's calling us back." As if on cue, the whispers returned, louder and clearer than ever. They filled the cabin, overlapping voices speaking in languages none of them understood. Yet beneath the chaos, a single phrase repeated itself over and over. *return*. "It's not just pulling us back," Emma said, her voice barely audible. "It wants us to come willingly." Jack slammed his fist against the console, startling everyone. "We're not going anywhere willingly. This thing has already caused enough trouble. We leave it alone." But no matter how much he resisted, the ship continued its relentless journey toward the source of the pull. Minutes stretched into agony as the crew braced themselves for what lay ahead. Finally, the shaking stopped, and the ship came to a halt. Outside the view screen, the massive sphere loomed before them once again, its surface shimmering faintly. A section of it opened up, revealing the same glowing portal they had escaped days earlier. Without hesitation or choice, the black dagger drifted forward, drawn inside like a moth to a flame. Inside the chamber, everything was different. The walls pulsed with brighter, harsher light, and the air crackled with energy. At the center of the room stood the heart of eternity, its glow now almost blinding. Surrounding it were the translucent figures of the keepers, their forms flickering erratically. One of the figures stepped forward, its gaze fixed on Jack. "You have been marked," it said, its voice resonating in their minds. "The artifact has chosen you, *. Chosen us for what?" Jack demanded, his voice rising. "We didn't ask for this. To bear the consequences, the keeper replied. The power you sought cannot be controlled. It will consume you, *. Before anyone could respond, the crystal began to pulse faster, sending waves of energy rippling outward. The crew fell to their knees, overwhelmed by the intensity. In that moment, they realized the truth. They hadn't escaped the artifact. It had never let them go. The days that followed were tense and exhausting for the crew of the black dagger. None of them could shake the feeling that something was wrong, something deeper than malfunctioning systems or strange noises in the ship. It was as if the artifact's influence had seeped into their very thoughts, twisting their minds in ways they couldn't fully understand. Emma Lewis spent most of her time hunched over her scanner, trying to make sense of the chaotic energy readings. Her face was pale from lack of sleep, dark circles forming under her eyes. The numbers on the screen didn't add up. They fluctuated wildly, sometimes spiking so high that the device nearly overloaded. "It's like the artifact is still here," she murmured to herself one night, staring at the glowing display. But how? Jack Malone noticed her growing exhaustion and approached her cautiously. "You need to rest," he said, his tone softer than usual. "We can't afford to lose you." "I can't stop now," Emma replied without looking up. "If I don't figure this out, we might not survive whatever's coming next." Her words sent a chill through Jack, though he tried to hide it. He glanced around the dimly lit cabin, where the others were scattered, each lost in their own worries. Ryan Cole sat sharpening a blade, his movements jerky and distracted. Kate Riley pored over star charts, her brow furrowed as she struggled to navigate the unpredictable drifts of space. None of them looked okay. Not really. That night, the dreams returned. This time, they were worse. Each crew member found themselves standing in the same place. The chamber inside the sphere, with the heart of eternity glowing brightly before them. The keepers appeared again, their translucent forms flickering like dying flames. Their voices echoed in unison, louder and more urgent than before. "You have awakened it. There is no turning back." When morning came, the crew gathered on the bridge, their faces drawn and haunted. No one spoke at first, but the shared look in their eyes said everything. They'd all seen the same dream. Finally, Kate broke the silence. "What does it mean?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Are we cursed or something?" Ryan snorted, though there was no humor in it. "Cursed? That's just superstition. We're dealing with science here. Just science we don't understand." "Then explain the dreams." Emma shot back, her voice sharper than usual. "Explain why the ship keeps breaking down. Explain why none of us can sleep without seeing those things." Ryan opened his mouth to argue but stopped himself, clenching his jaw instead. Deep down, he knew she was right. Something unnatural was happening, and none of them had any answers. Jack stepped forward, his expression grim. "Arguing won't help us," he said firmly. "We need to focus. Whatever's affecting us, we have to find a way to fight it, or at least get away from it." "But how?" Kate asked. "Our systems are falling apart, and we don't even know where we're going." "We'll figure it out," Jack replied, though his voice lacked its usual confidence. "We always do." As the day wore on, the disturbances aboard the Black Dagger grew worse. Lights blinked on and off unpredictably, casting the corridors in alternating shadows and bursts of brightness. Strange symbols began appearing on the walls, glowing marks that hadn't been there before. They pulsed faintly, matching the rhythm of the energy spikes Emma had been tracking. One symbol caught Emma's attention in particular. It was etched into the wall near her workstation, resembling the intricate patterns on the sphere's surface. She traced it with her fingers, shivering as an icy sensation ran through her hand. "This wasn't made by us," she whispered, stepping back. "Something's writing these." Her words drew the others' attention. When they saw the symbols, fear rippled across their faces. "What does it want?" Kate asked, her voice barely above a whisper. No one answered. They didn't know. But as the hours passed, the air grew heavier, charged with an unseen force. The whispers returned, louder this time, overlapping and distorted. And then, without warning, the ship lurched violently, throwing everyone off balance. "What's happening now?" Ryan shouted, gripping a railing to steady himself. Emma stared at her scanner, her eyes widening in horror. "It's pulling us back," she said, her voice shaking. "Whatever we unleashed, it's bringing us back to the sphere." The Black Dagger hurtled through space, its engines roaring as it put distance between itself and the collapsing sphere. Inside the ship, the crew sat in stunned silence, their faces pale and drawn. None of them spoke as they processed what had just happened. The strange artifact, the warnings from the keepers, the chaotic escape. It was too much to take in all at once. Jack Malone leaned heavily against the wall of the bridge, his usual confidence replaced by a simmering tension. His eyes were fixed on the view screen, where the faint glow of the implosion still lingered in the distance. He clenched his fists, trying to shake off the unease that gnawed at him. "That was too close," he muttered finally, breaking the silence. Kate Riley turned to look at him, her voice sharp with frustration. Too close. That's all you have to say. We almost got ourselves killed back there. And whose fault is that? Ryan Cole snapped, glaring at Jack. You made us go after that thing, even when we knew it was dangerous. Jack's jaw tightened. I didn't see you stopping me. You were the one who touched it, remember? Ryan opened his mouth to retort, but stopped himself, his face reddening with anger. Instead, he turned away, pacing the length of the cabin. The guilt weighed heavily on him, though he wouldn't admit it. Touching the crystal had been reckless, and now they were all paying the price for it. Emma Lewis sat quietly in a corner, her scanner still in hand. She stared at the data scrolling across the screen, her mind racing. The energy readings from the artifact were unlike anything she'd ever encountered, wildly unstable and growing stronger even now. This isn't over, she said softly, drawing everyone's attention. What do you mean? Kate asked, frowning. Emma hesitated before answering. Whatever that thing was, it's not contained anymore. I think activating it caused some kind of ripple effect. Look. She held up the scanner, showing jagged lines spiking erratically. These readings are coming from inside the ship. A chill ran through the room. They exchanged uneasy glances, each silently wondering if they'd brought something back with them. Something they couldn't see or understand. We need to figure out what's happening, Jack said firmly, stepping forward. Emma, keep analyzing those readings. Kate, check the ship for damage. Ryan, he paused, looking at the weapons specialist. Make sure our defenses are ready, just in case. Ryan nodded reluctantly, though his scowl deepened. He grabbed his toolkit and headed toward the armory, muttering under his breath about how this mission had gone completely wrong. As the others dispersed, Emma stayed behind, her focus returning to the scanner. The numbers danced wildly, making it hard to pinpoint exactly what was causing the disturbance. But one thing was clear. The artifact's influence hadn't ended when they left the sphere. Somehow, it was still affecting them. Hours passed, and the tension aboard the Black Dagger only grew worse. Lights flickered sporadically, casting eerie shadows across the corridors. Strange noises echoed through the ship, soft clicks and hums that seemed to come from nowhere. Even the engines sounded different, their usual steady thrum replaced by an uneven growl. Kate returned to the bridge, her expression grim. The ship's systems are acting up again, she reported. It's like the artifact messed with everything. I can't tell if we're even heading in the right direction anymore. Jack rubbed his temples, feeling the strain of leadership for the first time in years. Just do your best to keep us moving, he said. We'll deal with the rest later. But as night fell, or what passed for night in the endless void of space, a new problem emerged. One by one, the crew began experiencing vivid dreams filled with strange images and sounds. In their sleep, they saw the glowing figures of the keepers, their voices echoing in warning. You have awakened it. The figures repeated over and over. There is no turning back. When morning came, no one spoke of the dreams, but the fear in their eyes said enough. Whatever they had unleashed, it wasn't done with them yet. The crew of the Black Dagger stood in stunned silence, their eyes fixed on the crystalline object glowing atop the pedestal. The heart of eternity pulsed with a rhythmic light, casting shifting colors across the chamber. It was beautiful and mesmerizing, but there was something unsettling about it too, something that made the air feel heavier, as if the artifact itself was alive and watching them. Jack Malone took a step forward, his boots echoing unnaturally loud against the glowing floor. That's it, he said, his voice low and filled with greed. That's what we came for. Kate Riley grabbed his arm, pulling him back. Wait, she urged, her tone sharp with caution. Didn't you hear what they said? This thing has power beyond our understanding. Do you really think it's safe to just take it? Jack shook her off, his patience wearing thin. Safe or not, it's ours now. You heard them. It's valuable. Imagine what we could do with something like this. Emma Lewis lingered near the edge of the group, her scanner trembling slightly in her hands. She couldn't tear her eyes away from the artifact. "This isn't just valuable," she murmured. It's incredible. The energy readings are off the charts. If we can figure out how it works." "We don't need to figure anything out," Ryan Cole interrupted, stepping closer to the pedestal. His hand hovered over the crystal, itching to grab it. "All we need to do is take it and sell it. Someone out there will pay a fortune for this." The translucent figures, the keepers, moved silently around them, their glowing forms flickering like candle flames. One of them drifted closer to Ryan, its presence radiating both calm and warning. "Go, not touch it." The keeper's voice echoed in their minds. "It's powered is dangerous." Ryan hesitated for only a moment before sneering. "Dangerous? Everything's dangerous. I'm not scared of some shiny rock." Emma shot him a nervous glance. "Maybe you should be. We don't know what it does, or what it might do to us." But Ryan wasn't listening. He reached out, his fingers brushing the surface of the crystal. For a split second, nothing happened. Then, the chamber erupted into chaos. A deafening hum filled the air, vibrating through the crew's bones. The walls of the sphere began to shift and twist, bending in ways that defied logic. Gravity fluctuated wildly, sending everyone tumbling to the ground. Bright flashes of light blinded them momentarily, and the whispers they had heard earlier returned, louder, angrier, overlapping in a cacophony of voices. "What did you do?" Kate shouted, scrambling to her feet. Her face was pale, her expression a mix of fear and anger. "I didn't do anything," Ryan snapped back, stumbling backward. His eyes were wide with panic as he stared at the artifact, which now glowed brighter than ever. Cracks of energy spiraled outward from the crystal, spreading across the chamber like lightning. The keepers moved faster now, their forms flickering erratically. "You have awakened it," one of them said, its mental voice tinged with sorrow. "Leave now, while you still can." Jack cursed under his breath, realizing the situation was spiraling out of control. "Everyone back to the ship," he barked, already heading for the exit. The others followed quickly, dodging bursts of energy that crackled through the air. As they ran, Emma glanced over her shoulder at the pedestal. The heart of eternity seemed to pulse in time with her heartbeat, its light growing more intense with each passing second. She felt a strange pull toward it, an almost irresistible urge to go back and touch it herself. Shaking her head violently, she forced herself to keep moving. By the time they reached the Black Dagger *, the entire sphere was shaking violently. Panels fell from the ceiling, and the glowing walls began to dissolve into streams of light. The crew scrambled aboard, shouting orders as they prepared for launch. "Get us out of here, Kate," Jack yelled, gripping the back of her chair. Kate's hands flew over the controls, her knuckles white. "I'm trying, but the systems are going haywire." With one final jolt, the Black Dagger * disengaged from the docking bay and shot forward, leaving the collapsing sphere behind. As they emerged into open space, the massive structure imploded in a blinding flash of light, sealing off whatever secrets and dangers lay within. No one spoke as they watched the aftermath fade into darkness. Whatever they had unleashed, they knew one thing for certain. They couldn't stay to find out. The Black Dagger * drifted closer to the massive sphere, its surface shimmering like liquid metal under a faint otherworldly glow. The crew stood frozen on the bridge, their eyes fixed on the viewscreen as the enormity of the structure became clear. It was larger than anything they had ever seen, bigger than a moon, bigger even than some planets. Its smooth curves and intricate patterns seemed almost alive, shifting subtly as if breathing. Jack Malone stepped forward, his jaw tight with determination. "Take us in," he ordered, his voice cutting through the tense silence. Kate Riley hesitated, her fingers hovering over the controls. "Are you sure about this?" she asked, glancing at him. "We don't know what's inside." "That's why we're going to find out," Jack replied sharply. He didn't wait for further protests before turning back to the screen. Whatever doubts he might have felt were buried beneath his hunger for discovery and riches. Emma Lewis watched nervously as the ship approached the sphere. She leaned closer to her console, scanning for any signs of danger. "There's no sign of weapons or defenses," she said quietly, "but that doesn't mean it's safe." Ryan Cole crossed his arms, his scowl deepening. "Safe? Nothing about this place feels safe. Those whispers are still driving me crazy." Sure enough, the faint murmurs continued to echo through the ship, growing louder as they neared the sphere. They sounded clearer now, almost forming words, though none of them could quite make sense of what they were hearing. It was maddening, like standing on the edge of understanding but never crossing over. As the *Black Dagger* reached the sphere, a section of its surface opened up, a glowing portal that pulsed with light, inviting them in. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. No one spoke as Kate guided the ship cautiously toward the entrance. The moment they passed through, the atmosphere changed completely. Inside, the sphere was unlike anything they had imagined. The walls, or what appeared to be walls, were made of a translucent material that glowed softly, casting an ethereal light throughout the vast chamber. Gravity seemed to shift unpredictably. One moment they floated slightly off the ground, and the next, they were pulled firmly back down. Strange shapes moved in the distance, too fast to catch clearly, leaving only fleeting impressions behind. This isn't possible," Emma whispered, her voice filled with awe. She tapped furiously at her console, trying to record everything she saw. "It's like we've stepped into another dimension." "Focus, Emma," Jack barked, though his own wide eyes betrayed his wonder. He turned to the others. "Spread out. Look for anything valuable or useful." The crew split up reluctantly, each carrying a handheld scanner to document their findings. As they explored, they discovered artifacts scattered throughout the chamber. Some resembled tools, while others looked more like art, delicate sculptures that hummed faintly when touched. Each object radiated an energy that made their skin tingle. Then, without warning, movement caught their attention. Humanoid figures appeared around them, translucent and glowing faintly. They moved silently, their forms flickering like projections. The pirates froze, unsure whether to run or fight. One of the figures stopped directly in front of Jack. Though it had no mouth, a voice echoed in his mind. "You should not be here, *." Jack swallowed hard but forced himself to respond. "Who are you?" The figure tilted its head, studying him. "We are the keepers, *" it replied. "This place is forbidden, *" "Forbidden or not," Jack said, his voice steadying. "We're here now. What is this place?" The keeper hesitated, then gestured toward the center of the chamber. A pedestal rose from the floor, holding a crystalline object that pulsed with blinding light. "That is the heart of eternity. It holds power beyond your understanding, *" Jack's eyes narrowed as he stared at the artifact. Power beyond understanding meant wealth beyond measure, and that was exactly what he had come for. The *Black Dagger* sailed deeper into the unknown, its path growing darker with every passing moment. The stars outside seemed to dim, swallowed by an unnatural shadow that stretched across space. Inside the ship, the air felt heavier, pressing down on the crew like an invisible weight. Jack Malone stood rigid on the bridge, his hands gripping the railing as he stared out at the void. He tried to push aside the unease creeping into his mind, but it was getting harder to ignore. Kate Riley worked furiously at her station, tapping commands into her console. Her brow furrowed in frustration as her instruments continued to fail. Maps flickered and distorted, showing paths that didn't exist and locations that shifted unpredictably. "This isn't right," she muttered under her breath. "It's like the rules of space don't apply here." "What do you mean?" Ryan Cole snapped from across the room. His voice carried a sharp edge, betraying his own growing anxiety. "You're saying we're lost." "I'm saying I can't trust any of this," Kate shot back, gesturing at her screens. "Everything's changing too fast. 1 second we're heading straight, the next we're spinning around without even touching the controls." Emma Lewis leaned closer to her own monitor, studying the strange energy readings that had been troubling her since they entered the veil. The numbers danced wildly, defying logic and science. She frowned, trying to make sense of it all. "There's something out there," she said softly. "Something powerful. It's messing with our systems." Jack turned to look at her. "Powerful how?" Emma hesitated, unsure how to explain what she was seeing. "It's like, imagine if gravity decided to stop working, or if time started moving backward. That kind of powerful." Ryan scoffed. "Sounds like nonsense to me." "It's not nonsense," Emma snapped, surprising even herself with the force of her response. She rarely raised her voice, but the tension aboard the ship was wearing thin on everyone. "We're dealing with forces we don't understand. If we keep going, who knows what could happen." Jack ignored their bickering and focused on the view screen. The darkness outside was almost complete now, broken only by faint glimmers of light that pulsed irregularly, like distant heartbeats. Then, without warning, the whispers returned, louder this time, more urgent. They echoed through the corridors of the ship, overlapping and indistinct, yet somehow clear enough to send chills down their spines. "Do you hear that?" Kate whispered, her voice trembling. Everyone froze. The whispers filled the cabin, seeming to come from every direction at once. Some sounded like voices speaking in languages none of them recognized, while others were just fragments of words, half-formed thoughts that slipped away before they could be understood. "Shut it off," Ryan shouted, slamming his fist against the nearest wall. "Turn it off." "There's nothing to shut off," Kate yelled back, panic rising in her tone. "It's not coming from the ship." Emma clutched the edge of her console, her knuckles white. "It's coming from out there," she said, pointing at the view screen. "From whatever's pulling us in." As if on cue, a massive shape emerged from the darkness. At first, it was little more than a faint outline, shimmering faintly against the endless black. But as the black dagger drew closer, the object revealed itself, a colossal sphere made of gleaming metal, its surface etched with intricate patterns that glowed faintly. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying, leaving the crew speechless. Jack broke the silence. "That's it," he said, his voice low and determined. "That's where we'll find our answers, and our treasure." "But what is it?" Kate asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "No idea," Jack replied. "And I don't care. We came this far. We're not turning back now." Ryan scowled but said nothing. Even he couldn't deny the pull of curiosity that tugged at them all. Whatever secrets the sphere held, they were about to uncover them. Whether they were ready or not remained to be seen. The pirate ship Black Dagger drifted silently through the cold emptiness of space. Its battered hull bore the scars of countless raids, a testament to its crew's daring and recklessness. At the helm stood Jack Malone, a man with sharp features and colder eyes. Known across the galaxy as one of the most feared pirates, Jack had earned his reputation not just through brute force, but also through cunning and sheer determination. He wasn't alone on this journey. His crew was a mismatched group of outlaws, each carrying their own secrets and ambitions. Kate Riley, the navigator, sat at her station near the front of the bridge. Her fingers danced over the controls as she plotted their course. Kate was quick-witted and resourceful, qualities that made her indispensable to Jack. She glanced up occasionally at the view screen, which displayed nothing but endless stars. The silence in the cabin was heavy, broken only by the soft hum of the ship's engines. Ryan Cole leaned against a wall nearby, arms crossed. His temper was infamous among the crew, and he rarely hid his disdain for anyone who disagreed with him. Today, though, he seemed unusually quiet, his dark eyes fixed on the screen as if searching for something. Beside him, Emma Lewis worked quietly at her console, analyzing data streams. Unlike Ryan, Emma preferred to stay out of arguments. She was intelligent and observant, often noticing details others missed, but even she couldn't explain what lay ahead. For days now, the crew had been whispering about their destination, a place called the Veil. It was a forbidden zone, shrouded in mystery and fear. No one knew exactly where it was or what lurked within, but tales of ghost ships and strange disappearances kept most travelers far away. Yet here they were, heading straight for it. Jack had heard rumors of untold riches hidden inside the Veil, treasures left behind by civilizations long forgotten. To him, the risk was worth the reward. "Are we close?" Jack asked suddenly, breaking the silence. His voice carried an edge of impatience. Kate hesitated before answering. "We're getting there," she said cautiously. "But I should warn you, it's not going to be easy. My instruments are already acting up." Jack frowned but didn't respond. Instead, he moved closer to the view screen, staring out into the void. Something about this mission felt different. Maybe it was the way the crew had grown quieter over the past few hours, or maybe it was the faint tingling sensation in the air that no one else seemed to notice. Whatever it was, it made him uneasy. Emma looked up from her console. "There's something odd about the energy readings," she murmured. "It's like they don't follow any known patterns." Ryan snorted. "Probably just interference from the damn equipment," he muttered. But even he sounded unsure. As the Black Dagger pushed deeper into uncharted territory, the atmosphere aboard the ship grew heavier. Lights flickered sporadically, and the hum of the engines took on a strange, uneven rhythm. Then came the whispers, soft, indistinct murmurs that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. At first, no one said anything, chalking it up to fatigue or imagination. But when Kate swore she saw shadows moving in the corners of her vision, unease spread through the crew like wildfire. Jack clenched his jaw. "Keep moving," he ordered, his voice firm despite the tension crackling in the air. "Whatever's out there, we'll deal with it." No one argued. They trusted Jack, or at least they trusted his ability to survive. Still, none of them could shake the feeling that they were being watched. And as the ship continued onward, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. Whatever awaited them beyond the edge of known space, it was clear they weren't prepared for it. Not yet.